What's going on, everyone? It is me, Lone Vault Wanderer, and today I'm talking about Fallout 4's final DLC, Nuka World. Now, before I get started, in the description below, there's a link to the very first episode of the Bucket List series that I constantly talk about, but I've actually released the first part, and I'm playing the original Borderlands. I know that this series has a lot of improvements that need to be made. People have been leaving their constructive criticism and feedback, and I really appreciate and encourage that. There's a few things I need to change, and potentially, if the series doesn't actually do too well, I might have to stop doing it, because the first episode kind of flopped in terms of views, unfortunately. But regardless, if you are interested, check it out. And now we're going to talk about Nuka World. So I did a video very similar to this when talking about Vault-Tec Workshop, and I pretty much said that I want to do fucked up shit with the experiments in the vault. Now, unfortunately, the reality of the actual DLC that was released meant that we couldn't necessarily do the kinds of things that I was hoping for in that video, and I, to be honest, wanted kind of messed up, fucked up things. So I get why some of those weren't included in the DLC, but at least I wanted a bit more than what we actually got. So I'm going to be doing something very similar for Nuka World, and I really do hope that we get some of the things at least that I cover or talk about in this video, because at the end of the day, Nuka World is meant to be a quest or a DLC where we lead raiders, for God's sake. So what I'm going to be doing is reading a couple of the descriptions that we've been given about Nuka World from Bethesda, and then I want to generate some of my own ideas in terms of what I want to be able to do and see and actually achieve or complete in this DLC. And before I share my views, I would love to get all of your thoughts in the comments below as to the kinds of things that you want to be able to do as a raider, leader, or ruler in the Nuka World DLC. Please let me know again in the comments below. So, let's take a look at the Bethesda.net description that we have about Nuka World. It says the following: take a trip to Nuka World, a vast amusement park now a lawless city of raiders. Explore an all-new region with an open wasteland and park zones like Safari Adventure, Dry Rock Gulch, Kitty Kingdom, and Galactic Zone. Nuka World features new quests, raiders, weapons, creatures, and more. Enjoy the ride. So that description seems relatively run-of-the-mill, but it's more when we get to the description that we have on the Nuka World Steam page that things get a little bit more interesting. And that description on Steam has one very important line that I want to kind of draw out and explain and discuss in this video. It says the following, quote, lead lethal gangs of raiders and use them to conquer settlements, bending the Commonwealth to your will. I stress, lead lethal gangs of raiders and use them to conquer settlements, bending the Commonwealth to your will. So, whereas with the Vault-Tec Workshop ideas that I generated, it was kind of clutching at straws in the sense that, well, because we're building vaults, I want to be able to do the fucked up vault experiments, and Bethesda never necessarily gave us that idea. I kind of just took the ball and ran with it with those ideas. But in this case, it says we get to lead lethal gangs of raiders and use them to conquer settlements, bending the Commonwealth to your will. I've said that 3 times, so now let's talk about what I want to do in leading lethal gangs of raiders. We know, firstly, how fucked up raiders are in the Fallout universe. To be really blunt, they're not nice people at all. They're murderers, they're thieves, they're pillagers. They will kill anyone and attack anyone on sight without discrimination and leave behind a pool of blood and guts. That's what raiders are. They are meant to be fucked up people that do not give a shit about you. They prey upon the weak and innocent. They steal whatever they want. They attack in groups. They don't care about playing by the rules. They don't have a moral code. They don't care about abiding by any laws. They are literally anarchy and chaos personified. And if we are truly going to be leading a gang of these kinds of people, as a result, we need to be able to do fucked up shit. And I think that's a completely fair thing to at least expect in some respects for the Nuka World DLC. And we kind of had that a little bit lacking in the main game. The factions that we could follow, while some could consider the Institute to be out and out evil, nevertheless, they still had morals that they abided to. They still saw themselves as wanting to achieve some sort of greater good in the world, but they weren't necessarily like raiders that would just kill people for the sake of it without needing a fucking reason. We never really had an out and out evil, fucked up faction or gang that we could become a part of in the original base game of Fallout 4. And that's really what I'm hoping that we get with the Nuka World DLC. I want to be able to lead a fucking big gang of raiders that do not give a shit about anyone in the wasteland. They just want to kill, they just want to murder, they just want to steal, they just want to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And that one little line in the description of this DLC, I'm hoping we can get something even close to that. I want to be able to attack pre-established settlements and have that be part of quest lines where we take over those settlements, where we establish them as raider bases. I also want to be able to kill heads of other major factions in the wasteland to ensure that raiders are the dominant force in the Commonwealth. Also as well, if there already is a leader of this raider gang in Nuka World, or that's residing in Nuka World, I want to be able to go and kill him or her and become the leader. Like, I want people in that raider group to fucking fear me as an evil SOB, because that's the kind of person that you would see, or that at least I see, leading a gang of raiders, conquering settlements, killing people, stealing shit, and really leaving the Commonwealth for worse. I want, by the end of this DLC, as a result of all of my actions as the leader of this raider gang, for the Commonwealth to be in a complete state of disarray. I want settlements to be ruined, I want fires to be started, I want dead bodies everywhere, and I know that sounds like fucking evil, but if that wasn't the case, I don't think that would make sense from a story element or a story plot point. Look at any of the raider gangs that we've ever experienced in past Fallout games, whether it's Fallout 3, whether it's New Vegas. Sometimes they were organized and you could work with them, like the Great Khans in New Vegas. They essentially were a bunch of raiders that became this strong, organized group that could at least be worked with. However, most of the raiders that we came across, say in Fallout 3, they would just attack you on sight and they would not give a shit. Even the Fallout Wikia says this of the raiders in the Capital Wasteland: they're mostly hostile, lawless, chem-addled ruffians who roam the wastelands of Washington DC area. Raiders have no alliances with other factions and will attack everyone but other raiders or slavers. They appear to be quite cruel, as places they inhabit are usually filled with the mutilated bodies of other raiders and wastelanders, implying that they torture captured enemies and occasionally their own. So when we walk around the wasteland, whether Fallout 3, New Vegas, whatever, I think Fallout 4 as well, and you see dead bodies hanging from hooks and shit, a lot of that is to do with the raiders. A lot of that is to do with raiders coming in, killing whoever they want, and undertaking these horrific, gruesome acts. Now, I'm not implying that I want to be able to torture people or anything. I think that's a step too far and might get the game banned in Australia. Please don't do that, Bethesda. But at the very least, I'm saying that I want to be able to incite fear in the hearts of my enemies, that people do not want to cross me because of the reputation that I've built in leading this raider gang. I just want to be an evil son of a bitch, and I think that is going to make the most sense for this DLC. And of course, there can be other options as well. Say if you wanted to be a good person, like lead the raider gang, but only to stab them in the backs in the end, to ensure that they're wiped out from the Commonwealth and wiped out from Nuka World. I would completely love an option to do that. But on the other extreme, I want to be able to unite all of these raiders so they fear me as a leader and will do whatever I want. I'm really hoping that that would be the case, because that's going to make for an awesome DLC. Just such a fun DLC in my opinion. But again, I would love to get your thoughts as to what you want to do as a raider leader in Nuka World. Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself. And as always, keep fighting the good fight.